Hey everyone, and welcome to my full song indie mix tutorial part 4. If you're new here, welcome. Please make sure to check out parts 1 through 3. I'll have them down in the description below. This part 4 is going to build off things I did in all those other parts, so I definitely recommend watching that before this one. If you've already seen those or you just want to dive in headfirst to kind of the finish line stuff that I do to a mix, then feel free to check this out. In part 1, I covered all the session setup, gain staging, and drum phase. In part 2, I handled all the drums and percussion sound. And then in part 3, I handled all the instrument and vocal processing. This video is basically going to cover the final polish that I do to a mix. So after I've done all my processing and got a good static mix set up, I'm going to go through and automate whatever I need to help it sound like a cohesive song. And then any other effects changes or whatever else I think that this song needs, I'm going to do in this video. Big shout out to the band Jen and the Right Light for letting me use this song. I was honored to produce, mix, and master the original recording, and now I'm excited to show how I would process it 7-something years later. I mentioned this in some of the earlier parts of the series, but I am mixing with all the third-party plugins that I have. I'll make sure to mention some alternatives you can use in case you don't have the exact plugin I'm using, but for the most part, this is going to be mixing with third-party plugins. In general, the first parts of a mix are pretty structured, like I do the same things every time. But then once I get to this part of the mix, it's a lot more kind of ad hoc, kind of all over the place, depending on what I'm feeling at the time. Let's just see where we're at currently. Things that are jumping out at me already. There was a ride cymbal thing here. Honestly, that was low in general, so I'm going to push my overheads up about a dB. And then I'm going to hit A to go into automation. And I use the marquee tool about 90% of the time. I'm going to grab right here where the ride hits. You can kind of see it in the waveform and go almost till the downbeat, but not quite, because I don't want the cymbal hit to go up. And then I'm going to just push this maybe like 4 dB, maybe a little more. That should balance that out. Percussion can come up a little bit, like 0.6. All right, this snare is bothering me. It's always bothering me. I might just pull down the snare a little bit right now. It kind of feels too dry, so I want it to sit back on that room. If I can't get it there, I'll either add a room triggered sample or add a reverb or something to help push it back. Yeah, I'm going to add a room sample. So I'm going to duplicate this snare trigger because I want most of it to stay how it is. I'm going to pull the same audio down. So basically, it's just the same exact track triggering the same way. And I'm going to go into this trigger, but I'm going to call it Snare Room Trigger. I'm going to move it down to my rooms. And then I need to fix the routing. So we no longer need it going to the drum parallel. Pull it out of there. And we can just send it to the room at the same level these are all going. And then we're going to change this bus here to go to the room all. So basically what we've done is taken our snare that's triggering how we want. We've doubled it, moved it to the room trigger. And now we can go in here. I'm going to turn off that and find basically, what am I using? All right. Snare 5 Z3 mic. So what I'm going to do, and it's tuned +9. So I'm just going to build it kind of over here. So I'm going to go into browser and find snare 5. It's not 5A, it's snare 5. So I'm going to bring over this snare energy and snare SSDR. Steven Slate drum room, I'm guessing. And we're going to put both of these at, I'm going to go ahead and link tune, push all these to +9, which is where the sample was. And I'm just going to pull the sample out. So what we should have, if I did it right, is a big smack. Which we do. We need to knock trigger into mono to stereo. There we go. Mono to stereo trigger. I'm going to play the ending or something, so there's a lot of snares. I'm going to work this in so it feels like part of the drum room. I'm going to make sure the output of this is hitting -12. This sounds bad. Why did that sound phasey? So that's too big of a room sound anyway, so I'm just going to use this snare 5 energy. And basically, I'm going to do similar processing that I did to the other rooms. So I'm going to pull over this, kind of get rid of the super lows and the super highs. And an 1176. Just going to copy my settings. So I'm going to make sure my in and out are about the same. 18. C15. A little hotter, so I'll push up some output. Great. Turn this down, blend it in. That's pretty good. That's better. Here's without it. Here's with it. Adds a little bit of like splash to it. Feels a little bass heavy, so I'll pull it down a bit, but I'm gonna add one more thing. I'll put it on all the snares just a bit, and we'll use bus 11, send it at unity for now, and I gotta go find bus 11, make a track, and we'll put it down here with our drum effects. After drum verb, we'll just call this snare verb, because we're just gonna send snare to this. And let's go find, I kind of want that like either non-linear or like gated reverb, like a really quick wide thing. I'm gonna try chroma. That's already good. None of these are doing it for me yet. I'm gonna try Space Designer. Ooh, that's good. There's some artificial top that I don't like, so I'm gonna pull that out. That's it right there. I want to make sure I send this out while I'm thinking about it to Drum Master. Toms feel a little loud maybe, so I'll pull them down, back down to 0. But they need more top end. So I'll put a little bit more in Saturn, help the toms cut. Having a really hard time with this snare, so it's not consistent. So I'm going to push the ratio, maybe push the threshold, and we're really going to try to get this like slamming. There we go. As I go, right there, I was just checking to make sure I wasn't compressing too much, because sometimes I'll get excited and like start adding sound, even though I try my best not to. So I was just making sure I wasn't over compressing that. Pull that reverb down just a smidge. That all feels like it's hitting a lot more how I want now. So I'm going to try again to start from the beginning and hit play. And when something catches my ear, I'm going to fix it. And I just kind of keep doing this and going over and over. Another method I'll do is kind of loop a section. And so I'll do like an 8-bar loop, and I'll let that play and adjust the levels and then move on to the next one and kind of do that all the way across, because I want to make sure certain elements or whatever is most important is being heard at that time. So like we could push lead guitar here just a little bit. So where's the downbeat? Right there. So I'm just going to grab this and just give it like a dB. A little more. Just so, because that's the only thing happening, like we can make that louder. I actually want it that loud all the time. Okay, minus 3.1. So again, there was that ride thing that I want to push right here. Push that a good amount. And then I'm going to grab this one. It's hard to, there we go, and just pull it down a little bit. A little bit more there. A little bit more. So now you can like hear it turning down, which I don't like. So I'll move this back a little more and delete that point. And then I'm going to grab the automation curve tool and do one of these. So I'm going to have it turn down slower at first and then speed up. That feels good right there. Maybe overall pull it down. Lead guitar, push a little bit there.
Stay close. I think you might see what I've been writing.
So we got stuff coming in here.
Making love on the mountain.
All right, I'm gonna loop this for a minute. These two rhythm guitars, they feel balanced left and right, so I'm just gonna highlight them both. And I think I'm gonna pull them down a little bit because I really want to feature the bass and just kind of the guitars are like a supporter.
Making this is a moment to remember. Oh, making love on the mountain. Making love on the mountain.
All right, there's a few things happening here. I want the drums louder, but I think I'm going to push the room. The reason I'm doing the room instead of like the master fader is because, number one, I think it'd be cool. Kind of give some more room vibe right there. Since we push that level on the snare rim like so much, it feels like extremely dry. So I'm going to push up some room to kind of compensate for that.
Making love on the mountain. This is a moment to remember.
And I'm going to push percussion too, just because it's going to add to our sense of room, but then like we'll get those really good congas in there too. And have it be done right before that big snare hit.
Making love on the mountain. This is the moment. Remember.
So I'm going to add a little more top end detail on these congas to really help them cut through. So a little more to Saturn, and then let me go to the SSL channel here and find something.
This is the moment to remember.
And I think the percussion is competing with the rhythm guitars a little bit. So I'm going to take them both down just another notch. Like 1 dB maybe.
Making love on the mountain.
All right, another thing that's bothering me. These rhythm guitars are a little ahead. They're rushing, at least compared to the bass. So look at this. They're not in time together, first of all. But then, you know, bass is hitting consistently like a little after the drums, which is fine. But these guitars are Look, guitar, guitar, and then bass hits. This hit in particular is good. This one, guitars are a little forward. It's kind of all over the place. But what I like to do if things are not feeling right timing-wise, is add a little sample delay to them. So these two guitars, just after the chain is fine. I'm going to go to delay, sample delay, mono. And I'm going to do like maybe 12 milliseconds. And what this does is just push the guitars back and they happen slightly later, slightly delayed. And this is a trick that I like to do whenever the feel isn't right on something, like that push, pull, rush, or drag feel. I use sample delay to kind of push something back and help it sit better with it. So I'm going to listen with that.
Making love on a mountain. This is a moment to remember. Making love.
So now that I've done that, they're kind of sitting back on the beat more, which is what I've wanted. It's just like a tiny little thing, but rushing or dragging, once you learn to listen for that, can really impact how your mixes feel. So I just made those drag a little bit and they kind of sit behind the drums and the bass as far as timing, but it just helps the whole thing sound better. We can also pull down the lead guitar here because we've already heard that part like 5 times and we want to feature everything else that's happening. So pull that down a little bit.
Making love on a mountain. This is a moment to remember.
So now we're more featuring the bass and the percussion, and you can hear more room of the drums, and it really helps to give a different character to that part of the song. So I'll play the verse leading into that so we can feel the change.
So far apart, struggle stay close. I think you might see what I've been writing. Making love.
I'm going to turn that guitar down a little over time so it's not an abrupt change.
Been writing. Making.
Maybe not that abrupt. Or that over time.
Making love on a mountain. This is a moment to remember.
So as soon as that vocal gets loud, I'm going to pull it down a little bit. So I'll put a point there, pull it down just a smidge. Because like when a vocal first starts on like a loud, long, high note, it's cool. But it really quickly gets tiring to hear. So I try to pull it down and maybe push it back with some reverb. So then all this can just kind of turn down over time. Get more lead guitar back here. That sounds good. We're going to fix that snare right now. So it starts, let me listen on the overhead. Right there is where it starts. So, put my cycle right there. So for these two, the mic channels, I'm going to turn off the gate on the SSL plugin. So SSL channel, we want expander threshold. And we're just going to pull this. Oh, I see it starting a little sooner. Yeah. We're just going to pull it all the way down, and then it'll be done by the downbeat. So we're going to pull this all the way down and make sure that opened. So now we're getting all those hits. So same thing on the snare bottom. SSL channel, expander threshold, same spots. So it looks like here to there, all the way down. And it's okay if we're catching that downbeat a little bit, but I'm going to try to avoid it. It's okay if you can't avoid it. It's more important to have those build-ups in there than to like make sure that the kick isn't opening at that point. If you really wanted to, you can up this threshold. Whoops. Right here. Oh, wow, that's not even grabbing it. Probably because my range isn't that low. Oh, there we go. All right, and snare trigger. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off. Same thing here. Let's go the first SSL channel, like our one shaping the attack there, and go to the threshold. Same thing here. Pull it down all the way. See how that does. So that got us here. So what we can do for this section, just right here, is actually just grab this and up the gain of that section. Because it's just basically these 4 hits or so. So I'm going to go in here to regen and just give it like a, oh, it's already -6. Let's put it at 0. And sometimes when you do this, it won't climb correctly. So then I go and put a few more cuts and kind of ease the volume. So like we'll do maybe a -2 here and a -4. See how I got quieter right there? So like we need to be careful about that. Push the gain up on those. It could just be a weird way that the drum's being hit. Okay. So now it's a lot smoother. Oh, the one we didn't do is the room trigger down here. I know it's a pain, but it's these little details that really matter. Threshold, all of this, open up, and just gonna grab maybe all these, see if I can do it any quicker. Pull it up. These. Push it up. Cool. So now we should have a whole drum sound on that snare build. And then I just don't really like how the room sounds, so I'm just going to pull the fader down there on volume, just a touch. Beautiful. All right, moving on. Toms, I feel like could come up right there. I'll just push Tom all a little bit. We do 1 dB. Snare can come down a touch more. All right, we need lead guitar here. Not there. Right on the downbeat. Until the solo. We'll push that. So something's kind of in the foreground. If you're having trouble hearing it, you can always push it more, but another thing I like to do is pull the rhythm guitars down if I'm having trouble hearing a lead. Not much, because you don't want to lose the energy, maybe like half a dB. I see noise here, I'm going to cut that out, fade it in. All right, lots of stuff happening here. Lead guitar definitely needs to come down because the solo is taking that over. We really don't want to hear that lead too much. Vocal can hit the note and then get out of the way. Maybe not quite that much, but definitely start sooner. And I'm going to pull down my rhythm guitars as well right there because there's a lot of sound and we know what they sound like. We don't need to keep hearing them. That drum fill's cool, so I want to push that just a bit. Debating if I want to push the whole drum fader. I'll push the whole drum fader. Why not? Till then. Just a little bit. Yeah, 0.8. That's cool. And I will maybe start it a little sooner. We get rid of that one. So it kind of fades down. All right, let me listen to all this. A little more on the lead guitar there. So right in here, we're hitting our instrument master too loud. See how it's almost getting a 4? So I'm going to pull my organ down to try to compensate for that a bit. And maybe my rhythm guitar is down another little bit. It's all about tiny movements at this point. That should be a little better. Yeah. Organ can just stay down in there. It's not doing much but chords. push the solo there just because that's an even cooler part when it goes into that wah. But then I'll start bringing it down like at the end. Split the difference there. That was a big increase. We could put a little more room in here too. That would be cool. There's another build up. So luckily all of these are already set on expander threshold, so we can just come in here and be a little aggressive with it. So we want it done by then. I'll just start it somewhere back here. Done. And let me grab maybe these. Right here, they look soft. And push these up. Grab these two. Push these up. There we go. And then same thing down here on the room trigger. Push all those up. Why is that just dead? Oh, I did it on the volume. Dang. There we go. And then let's see, I know I did these 4. That's annoying. Okay. And honestly, same thing. I don't love the room sound right at that moment on the snare, so I'm just gonna pull that down a notch. Okay, things are happening here, and I have feelings about them. So the snare is really kind of not timid, but it's not smacking right there. So I'm just going to grab this whole thing. Let me listen and see. So those two smack. I want these to smack. So I'm just going to grab it, push them up a little more so they hit trigger harder. I was listening to this to see if those triggers not opening bothered me, but I can't tell. That's a good build-up. All right, so that's good. This is getting cut off a little bit by the gate. So I'm going to go in here and grab expander threshold and pull it down for this whole section. Not super far, but definitely like open. In case, ooh, that's not good. So I'm gonna kill it right there. Get that out of there. It's all about drums, honestly. Don't love that, but that's what we got. No, that's not going to fly. I'd rather it not be there. Okay. Oh gosh, this drives me nuts. I'll just straight up cut that out, honestly. It's not worth it. And then fade it back in over time. Yeah. I could do the same thing here. I try not to do this, but I really hate cymbal bleed in my tom mics. That's better. And now we can be a little more chill on that gate. Maybe let it open for some of this. Oof, that's cymbal. Okay, that's good. It's not perfect soloed, but it sounds better in the mix. So all of that with all those little things. If you have a mix and you hear the cymbals come through the tom gates, immediately I hear it and I'm like, oh, that's not that good of a mix. So definitely watch out for that. I hear it all the time and I try not to be that guy having it happen in my mixes, but you can only do so much, you know, with still retaining real instruments. All right, congas are doing cool stuff here. So I'll build that up over time. Where does it stop? So we'll bring it back down there and just push this, honestly, a good bit. That also pushes up some room sound, which is cool. Put a little more top end on this in general. Yeah. All right, let's listen to instruments. I'm gonna fade this organ down because it really ends abruptly. And just like fade it down over time. And honestly, we could stop it right when the guitar starts. I think that would sound cool. Kind of like a hard stop. Yeah. Right when he goes up to the higher note, that gets a little louder, so I'll pull that down. And we want to push that cool little guitar fill right there. I think we pushed that last time, so I'll push it again because I like it. guitar back up. Hopefully you're getting the idea of what's happening here. It's really like what's the most important or exciting thing happening at that time and pushing it or pulling stuff out of the way so that thing has room. And then the other half of it is like, how can I increase the vibe here, or like, you know, push drum room, or like give it a certain feel. Like shaker, where is that at? Yeah, see, that's cool stuff happening. Push that a little bit. Not too much because we don't want to increase our drum bleed and stuff. Not drum bleed. It is drum bleed, actually. And I'll pull rhythm guitars down here again to give it some room. I think that clicky is bothering me up top. Organ needs to fade out. Needs to fade out faster. Better. All right, I'm going to listen through the whole thing again and see what else catches my ear. There's noise on that rhythm guitar, so I guess I didn't clean these when I edited. It was like 8 years ago though, so cut me some slack. Here we go. Honestly, gonna go through all these spaces, clean them up. That one hit bummed me out. Where is it? This one. A little more smack on you. Now I'm going to check all of them.
Upstate driving with you, what a small town.
Maybe vocal can come down a touch right there.
You were shaking so loudly, I held you tightly. It's the moment of truth, we'll meet at the lake. I was shaking so loudly when you came and found me. Whoa.
I think bass is just a little loud overall. Bass guitar.
So far apart, struggle stay close. I think you might see.
So I'll have those out kind of by here. Continue to clean those up. Fade all this in. Fade all this out.
So far apart, struggle stay close. I think you might see what I've been writing.
Right here.
Making love on a mountain. This is the moment to remember. Making love on a mountain. This is the moment to remember.
All right, there's 5 hits that are too quiet. These two right here, I'm going to push them about 2 dB. And these three here, also about 2 dB. Let's see how that feels.
Making love on a mountain. This is the moment to remember.
It's better. It won't be perfect because it has different intensity, but we can get it closer with volume. We're going to play with this a little bit. I'm going to add one that I haven't used too much. It's called Transx Multi by Waves. There's not really a good Logic alternate for this that I know of, but this is a multi-band transient shaper. So what we're going to do is we're not going to use these bottom two. This bottom band, somewhere from like 1K to 4K, like that good mid-range, maybe 5K, we're going to have one, and then one from that point above. And what we're going to do is we can mess with kind of the range and how big that area is. So I like something like this where it's more mid-range than top. And then pull this sensitivity up or down until it's only enhancing the transients on the certain hits. I'm going to turn off our bass. Yeah. Or bring it down significantly. Because we want more pop.
This is the moment to remember.
Oh, that's so much better. All right, let me check that in context. I want to make sure that's not too loud because I do get excited when I make something sound better and I might push it too loud.
Let's see what I've been writing. Making love on a mountain. This is the moment to remember.
No, that's great. I really like that. I saw my floor tom open over here, so I want to check on that. Yep, none of that. So what I try to avoid doing, but usually end up doing, is cutting out anywhere that there's like noise in the tom mics that the tom is not playing. So if it's accidentally opening somewhere, I just go ahead and get rid of that. Again, like not fun, but important. All right, it opened. I don't know if you just saw that right there. That's just noise messing up your mix. So I cut it out. You might be panicking seeing me cut all this out, but you can't tell because once those gates are closed, if the audio file disappears, it doesn't matter. The important thing is your toms are still staying exactly in line with everything else. Because if you start moving around the positioning, then you're going to get into phase problems and like bad territory. So don't do that. But you can totally cut out audio files as long as you have a nice fade and you're not cutting out the transients. Like when the drum hits, you're good. So I think from here till the end, I'm going to push maybe the vocal slap on some of the vocals just because I want to give it a little bit more energy, but not necessarily make it like in your face louder. Let's see how that feels. Also, vocals are just loud in general, so I'm going to pull them down a dB. I thought I fixed that. Maybe it happens twice. Yeah, it does. So it's kind of out right there. Make a cut here. Erase. Fade that. Fade you. Slide you over. So we don't want to hear it cut. We just want it to cut. There we go. The organ's doing some kind of distracting stuff here, I feel like. It's vibe, but it's not like what I want to hear up front. So I'm going to pull that down just a touch. But the rhythm guitar, the second one, is doing a cool thing here. And I remember it because I think I recorded it. That little thing. And the bass does it with them. So I just push that rhythm guitar there a little bit so that you kind of feel that a little bit more. The rhythm guitar kind of feels lonely right here. And I think that happens a couple of times. So I'm going to increase the slap on this because that's going to push it over to the other side in the ears. Just like maybe 2 dB more. Let's see what that feels like. Yeah, so now you hear that little slap in the other ear across from the guitar. I like that. I think that's kind of fun. So we'll stick with it. Do the same thing here, about 2 dB. Gonna clean this, clean this. One thing that I always see people do this, but it never works for me, is a decapitator on the snare. If you're not familiar, it's this guy. Jeez. Just seeing if any sort of like saturation, like soft clipping is going to help kind of round off the peak on that and let us just get more energy on the snare. I think I like it actually. I'm going to pull drum parallel down just a hair. It feels like it's getting too gritty. This is feeling really good. This is definitely something that I would proudly like deliver to a client. One thing I like to do, it's like just that last 2%, is push some of the downbeats of sections. All right, I'm gonna do some stuff here. Okay, so everything going to the mix bus, everything going to bus 32. We're gonna set up a pre-mix. And I don't always do this because I don't always do this method. Let me just mute these and make sure that's all the sound. That is all the sound. So these guys are going to go to 31 right here. Pre-mix. And I'm literally making this just so I can ride the fader and push more into the mix bus. And sometimes I like to put pre-mix up at the top so that I can look at the drums as a reference for like when things are happening. So what I'm going to do, the thing about this is like songs sound better when the big impact is louder, right? Like louder is better, but you can't just have your entire song be louder. So the idea with this is you're going to, right before a downbeat, you're going to give it a little push, like a dB, maybe 2 tops, because you don't want to clip anything. You don't want to push your bus compressor too hard. But then over the course of the rest of the section, it works its way back down to 0, back to where it was. And then you're back down, you have headroom again, and you can like push again, if that makes sense. So I'm going to start it. And the reason I'm doing this going into my master bus is so that master bus can react to the different levels. So like the song gets louder, the master bus is going to compress more, we're going to get more grit from the drive, all of those things because we're sending more sound in. So I'm going to make this really big and see where things are happening. So there's a downbeat. Let's push it. I'll put a dot here, a dot where I want it pushed, and then a dot where I want it to return back to normal. So probably right there. And then I'll push this up. I'll do like 0.7. I save my biggest push for my biggest part of the song, so I'll just do 0.7 here. It's going to slowly get louder. And then our downbeat's ever so slightly louder.
Upstate driving with you, what a small town.
All right, nothing happening there. Gonna come up here. So same thing here. Is this on snap? Sometimes I like to turn on snap automation so it goes right to where I want it. So out by there. We'll do another, maybe a 0.9 here. And so it goes down so slowly you don't even notice, but it does, you feel that impact on the downbeats. So that would be cool to give a little bit of a push here, especially centered around that drum fill. So I'll have it back down by here so I could bring it up again. So I'll grab these two. We'll just do a little one, maybe a 0.5. So bring this up pretty big. Out right there. Pull this one up. We'll do a 0.7 here. And then right here, the build-up starts. And then the downbeat's there. Downbeat, so we'll definitely push that. This is a vocal section. That's the next downbeat, so we'll be out maybe by here. Push this. We're getting like near the end, so I'll do like a 0.9. No, not disc utility. So we're going to push this downbeat as well. Right there, we need to be out so we can start pushing again. So we'll do maybe a 0.9 here. That's kind of the climax right there. Like you have the high vocal, you have the guitar solo coming in. So this one, I want to hit like 1.5. That's usually as high as I'll push it on this kind of thing. So maybe whoops, no. I'll do a 1.5 right here. And then it's going to come back up again. Out right there. Push this to maybe like a 1.2. Build up to drums coming in. Like a 0.5 for that. downbeat there. So this could be another kind of bigger one, maybe like a 1.2 because it's going back. And then right here, we'll do a smaller, maybe like a 0.9, 0.8. So this is basically what you end up with. And I'm just going to go ahead and play it from the top. I'm really happy with this so far. There's not much else I would do to it, to be honest, as far as a mix. Like then we get into mastering, but I'm going to go ahead and play it from the top. I'll let you kind of watch this fader here and see what you think. You'll be able to see this kind of going up and down throughout the mix.
Upstate driving with you, what a small town. You were shaking so loudly, I held you tightly. It's the moment of truth, we'll meet at the lake. I was shaking so loudly when you came and found me. Whoa. Stay close. I think you might see what I've been writing. Making love on the mountain.
This needs to go to the mix bus.
Making love on the mountain. This is the moment to remember.
Low end is still a little heavy, so I'll pull it down here just a little bit.
You've been sitting around, I've been thinking about. Give me a reason, baby, and I'll be coming around. Give me a reason to stay. Give me a reason to stay.
Oh, that kind of bothers me. So I try not to dive into sliding audio files around, especially during a mix, but that bothers me right there. The drums and the bass. So it lands together. We're going to line these up. So let's cut you, and we're going to get rid of this. We're going to slide you way over, mute this for now. You're going to start kind of over there. Feels like cheating. But it definitely feels better to have the bass with it than not with it. Some people would even debate like this isn't part of the mixing process, but I'd argue like as a final line of defense for making your song sound good, this is part of the mixing process. Sounds like the bass tone from that Dua Lipa song. I'm gonna cut that out. It also sounds cool because the bass cuts out for that snare, which I'm a big fan of. So that's at about the point where I'd call it on the mix. That's as good as I can get it, and I would go ahead and send it to the client and go ahead and get revisions and all of that kind of stuff. You'd be surprised how much the artist revisions can really help your mix move along, because they're going to hear things that you didn't, and they're going to want their own taste and like that kind of thing applied to the mix. But that's an overall, across 4 videos, what I would do to mix an indie song from scratch. Please let me know down in the comments if that was helpful. Once again, thank you so much to the band Jen and the Right Light for letting me use this. And shout out to everyone who's watched this far. Thank you so much for supporting my content. Let me know down in the comments if you have watched this far. I really appreciate you for doing so. As always, if you have any additional questions or things you'd like clarified with the mix, you can let me know down in the comments. Make sure to check the description for the other parts if you happen to miss those, or if you'd like to hear the original mix that's on Spotify, I'll have that all linked down there. Thanks again for watching, and make sure you like and subscribe.